Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Reseller Show. This is episode 40, and we have a very, very special guest with us today. We've got Kris McCauley all the way from the US. As you can see, that Andy is currently still on holiday, so we are on the Reseller Show, episode 40 with Kris. Thanks very much for joining us, Kris.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, Kev. Always good talking with you.
Yeah, so who's Kris? How are you doing today? And when's the last time we spoke, Kris? Because we met each other some point last year, was it?
Yeah, it was last year. And I feel like it was probably end of 2018. Maybe it might have been Q4 going into 2018, maybe. So I think maybe a little bit after that, but I don't, it's been a while.
Yeah. So I met Kris last year going into Q4. So this is going to be another Q4 for us. So it's going to be a great show just to talk a little bit about Kris, what he's been doing all year. I'm sure we'll talk about Q4 preparations, and we're just going to get into it. So I suppose it'll be great for Kris just to sort of share what you've been up to this last few years. When did you get started? It was 2017, right? If I remember right.
Yeah, early 2017. And then, for anyone who knows me, I started off with private label. And then, it's just, I think, one of the hardest business models to start with. And then I ended up going into retail arbitrage. And then I went to online arbitrage, which is when I started talking with you. And then probably the last year, I did wholesale a little bit before then, but this is my year anniversary with buying from U.S. distributors is coming up, and it's crazy how fast things have happened. So it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Because I remember when I spoke to you last time, Kris, you was around about the £20,000 mark, $20,000 mark at that point, which is amazing in itself. So you must be really looking forward to this Q4, right? This is going to be like an amazing Q4 for you.
Yeah, I think so. It's crazy too that you mentioned that, because I completely forgot about that. And right now we're at about the 120K per month mark. So I don't know what that is in pounds.
Wow.
I don't know what that is in pounds, but it's like, yeah, and I would love to do, I would love to hit, a 200K gross month in December.
Wow.
That's like I like speaking out and, just making myself work. So that's the way I think about it.
That's staggering growth. That's incredible. But I'll say hello to all the guys in the chat. We've got Sean in the chat. Good to see you, Sean. How's the last couple of weeks been? We're back at the Reseller Show. We've got Simon, evening all, he says. We've got we've got Jerry. Jerry's in. Hello, guys. We've also got Maureen in. Happy Monday. So you guys that are joining us live in the chat, we've got Kris here. If you guys have got any questions whatsoever, any topics whatsoever, please don't hesitate to get them in. As you know, the Reseller Show is all about just all things reselling, really, whether that is just beginning, whether it is more advanced, whether it is productivity, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about it. So thank you so much, guys, for all joining. Neil, Danny, Mark. Wow, we're all coming in. We're all piling in, which is fantastic.
All right.
Amazing. So I suppose what we can get started with, Kris, is over what has been sort of the main focuses for yourself this year in 2019? Has it been more of the scaling the business, outsourcing, going to trade shows? What have you been up to this year?
I would say, we went to a trade show at the beginning of the year in 2019. We went to the ASD in March, and that was nice. And it's not that I didn't like it, but I think that there's other ways to find suppliers, and I kind of wanted to get off the beaten path, so to speak. So we didn't go to one this year. I would say the two main things we've been focusing on are just expanding our supplier selection. And so automating that. So we've automated 3 main parts to the business. And so that's something that's, I think, has been huge for our success. So we can double down on stuff that we can do that no one else can. Right. And then, and just really, experimenting, like just experimenting and doing stuff that other people don't want to do. Pretty much, that's what I feel like has really worked with us.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing in business in general. Really, that's a golden nugget for you guys straight away. You got to keep testing in the business. You got to keep experimenting in the business. You got to keep going down rabbit holes at times where some people may give up at the first hurdle or the second hurdle or the third hurdle, and you've got to keep experimenting and growing the business. So your business is all wholesale now at this point, is it? Or do you say you still do online arbitrage? Or
I would say, yeah, we do a little. So we're probably 90-10. Like I would maybe 95-5. Like it's pretty much all wholesale. There is definitely still some arbitrage there, but it's very automated and it's very just cream of the crop. Like, what can we have this one VA do, 5 hours a week and get to us? And so, yeah, it's basically all wholesale in the US. We're actually looking at getting in the UK here by end of year. So that's our goal with that. But yeah, all US wholesale for the most part.
Oh wow! Because I know that you guys that are in the chat with us now. There's a lot of our Reseller Show community. We've got a trade show coming up in the beginning of September. It's called the Autumn Fair here, and it's like a huge sort of 4-day trade show. Lots of different suppliers and everything there. And it's something myself and Andy have always said. It's a great way to go and interact with suppliers and interact with wholesalers and get yourself out there and building relationships, right? So you guys that are in the chat, make sure that you do get your tickets for the Autumn Fair. But did you say just before there, Kriss, did you mention that you don't go to many trade shows? So how do you go about getting your wholesale?
Well, it's not that I'm against trade shows at all. I think I'm just, like the ASD is one I've been to twice. So now it's like I would like to try some other trade shows. I would say, obviously if you can dedicate the time to go out, and it's always nice to meet suppliers face to face, talk with them, like you said, building the relationship, because a lot of this business, there's other aspects to it, but the goal is to just be managing relationships. That's I think what one of the main goals is. And so obviously that's great, but right now we're doing a lot of just Google search. And so we're having VAs basically do Google search based on criteria we have, and then we get a hodgepodge of websites back, and then I'm going through them and making notes. And so that way, when I make these notes, the VAs can do that themselves, to where it's like, and then they're reaching out to it. They're signing up with the accounts for us. And so we're just getting lists and emails sent to our email. And so we may have to vet like 20 to 30 a week, which we're currently still doing ourselves. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Without, and it's working pretty good. Like we just placed 5 new orders today. So like brand new suppliers, like this morning, never, great lists, all that stuff. So I think it's working pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it clearly is. You're having massive success, which is awesome. Because for us, we've done some Google searches, and we've found some wholesalers and different sites and things. But to be honest with you, I've always found myself to have the best success at a trade show when you're there speaking to somebody. So this is probably something that is quite an interesting strategy that you're using, because clearly you've got a good system in place for that. So is it like a continue searching through lots of different sites and keep contacting different people? Is it a numbers game? The more you search, the more you contact, the more likely you're going to open accounts? Or is there some
I think it's partly a numbers game. I mean, right now we're primarily just going for, there's 2 ways to go about it, right? You can go for the big fish, and, you're going to have to sell them on something like, and they're, it might be an exclusive or something like that. But then there's the smaller fish, the lower hanging fruit. And I use quotes around that because it's still, some of the stuff we're buying still isn't low hanging fruit. But but yeah, I mean, we're just reaching out to a bunch of different suppliers, and we have a VA that is just, a master at running lists right now. And we're just giving him as many possible lists as we can. And, a lot of them suck. A lot of them are terrible, but, we have the system down to where we've just increased our threshold of being able to analyze products. So then it's like, oh, okay, so these 20 suppliers sucked, but hey, these 5 had some good stuff. Let's go ahead and order. So I think that's like one of the hangups people do is like I've seen when I talk with people is they're just not analyzing products quick enough. Like you just got to dig through, you got to filter through as quick as you possibly can. So.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And what I found with wholesale is definitely when you get the stock list from a wholesaler, it could have like literally thousands of lines, couldn't it? I mean, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands of lines. So being able to get through that at pace, at speed, is obviously a good thing. But one thing that is definitely been a good thing for us, what we've found is through that having that account manager to speak to. Like I don't know how it works in the US. I'm assuming you've got the same like account managers who will call you on the phone and say, "Can I come visit you?" or "Can you do you want this clearance line?" And they send you an email saying this is what it is and this is the discount you can get. I found that really is a really good way of building and finding those golden nugget products, because they will, if once you've built a bit of a relationship with your supplier, they can potentially, start adding a bit of discount on there or a bit of discount on there, or they offer you like a clearance line of, I don't know, 200 units, whereas, you're not going to be able to get that anywhere else. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, we actually have a guy like that too, where it's like before anyone else, he'll reach out to us because we've worked with him before. And, it's just building that relationship. And, to go back to the point with the trade show, it's like you get to meet these people in person and really start off on the right foot as opposed to just an email that's being sent out or a phone call, and you can vet suppliers much quicker at trade shows too, as opposed to here. We're kind of just shooting in the dark, so to speak. So it's, no, that's a great point for sure.
Yeah. And you guys that are in the chat, let us know if you're into wholesale right now. Let us know if you're going to the autumn fair and what's your thoughts around that. It was, obviously it's a great thing for us to discuss a little bit more with Kriss on the call. But anything you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about it. And you guys have been sending loads of questions in already, which is fantastic. Awesome. So I'm just going to quickly just pick out a question right here. Let me get this right. What do you want to do in sales this time next year, Kriss? What's the ultimate goal for you, Kriss?
This time next year,
a lot can happen in 12 months, right?
Yeah, a lot can happen in 3 months. A lot can happen in 6 months. Like I would like to be, so in 12 months, like I would like the business to be on pace for, it seems like I've been about 5Xing. So it's like, okay, so let's say it 3Xs, right? Like I would like in 2020 to do $5 million in sales, which, I would say, what is that? Like a couple, I'm trying to think of how much per month, 300K per month. So yeah, like 300 to 400K gross per month. That would be about that. Yeah, I would say so. Like $5 million in sales would be my goal.
That's incredible. Talk about big goals here, guys. This is what it's all
big
about.
Goals, shooting big. And I think I've got the methods to get there. So
I think you have as well, Kriss. Everything I know about you, you are heavily focused in your goals. It's great. Like if you guys don't know much about Kriss, we're going to have a link to his YouTube channel and everything underneath the video, where you can follow him out on YouTube, on Instagram, on wherever Kriss wants to share his link. But you should definitely check out some of Kriss's content, because your content's amazing, Kriss. So good job.
Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it.
Jerry had a great question here. He said, "Hi, Kriss. I told Kriss just before we came live, guys. I said I mentioned last night that we're going to have Kriss on the show, and we had so many people going, "Oh, Kriss is a great guy. Kriss is a great guy. Top man, it's awesome." And Jerry was one of them. He's in your Facebook group, and he follows you on your content.
Oh, okay, I think I know who you. It's hard to know without a last name, but I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, "Hi, Kriss. I would like to know more about the email template that you spoke about in the last video. I shared a video that myself and you did last year. So this is going back into the memory vault a little bit. And in that video, you mentioned about the emails that you send into wholesalers and things. I'm convinced that you will have some type of template, right?"
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, no, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the question is to talk a little bit about the email templates and what's involved in that, I guess.
So, I mean, I'm sure it's probably changed since last year, and I feel like it's always changing. I try to keep it as generalized as possible, but like what you need to know is it's not too short, but it's straight to the point. So, and I'll try, once I tell you like the highlights, I'll then kind of give you an example. And then also too, I'm trying to show them that I'm not just some guy. Like I want to learn more about them. So like to give you an example, I might say like, hello, my name is Kriss and I'm with company XYZ located in whatever region. And we're looking to, carry some of your products in our store. I don't say online store. I don't say retail store. I'm just vague, in our store. And we want to carry some of your products. We wanted to learn more about your company. This is all like, just off the top of my head. We're excited to learn more about your company and possibly working together. Thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your day. Like, obviously there's a little bit more to it than that, but I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's not anything too crazy.
No, I mean, but these things are, to you, it might not seem all that crazy, but, as you will know, being a part of this reselling community, it's a fantastic community to be involved in, because that one little bit of information or that one little golden nugget, or I've got this template here and it includes this particular line, those little things could be the difference between accounts being opened and not opened. So all those little golden nuggets are fantastic.
One more thing I wanted to add on that, and it is, if it is like, you can be specific with a certain product. So like if there is a product on, that even if you don't know if it's profitable or not, the company may see like, oh, they're really interested in one or two of these particular products. So do your research beforehand and plug it into the email. And that, like what Kev just said, might be the difference between your account being opened and them just skipping over your email. So
and what you're doing in an email then is pretty much what we try to do at wholesale trade shows. Okay, so right now, because we are, let me get this right, we're a couple of weeks away. We're about 20 days or so away from this autumn fair trade show. So what we tend to do is we tend to present ourselves bigger than we maybe are, right? That's the goal. We need to present ourselves much bigger than we are. Like, we are big, but you always want to present yourself bigger than you actually are. So what we'll do is I'll go there with Steve, who's my COO in the business. We'll go there and we are purchasing managers. And we'll have a story of pretty much like you, like in terms of trying to be vague, not mention online straight away. We're not going to go to, we're not going to go straight to a person stood there saying, let me open an account right now. We're selling on Amazon. Let me have all your products. Let me have the account. That's just not going to work. They're going to walk away, aren't they? So what we will do is we will go there with a story, of a story of our business. We will, because we've got a warehouse here as well, it always helps to put that plug in and say, we've got a warehouse, give us a business card, and the business card has then got a landing page to website, which has got a picture of a big picture of the warehouse, contact details, all these just to make you as a bigger business, just to get your foot in the door. And what I found really works for then, Kriss, is you go away with lots and lots of different business cards. Okay, so all these people at trade shows, because they're there talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people throughout the 4 days, they don't remember you. Like, as much as they're very nice to you on the phone, they're probably not going to remember you because they've spoken to, thousands of people. So what I love is you get away with as many business cards as you can, and then you give them a call to get them back on the call maybe a week or two later, and you go, oh, hey, Kriss, do you remember talking to me at the autumn fair in Birmingham? I had a great conversation about your warehouse, and they're on the phone immediately. They're like, they don't want to give a bad impression, so they're like, oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. And then straight away, you're in the door at that point, and it was like, right, can we have the product list? Is that all right? Can we get this account opened and all these things? It's quite comical, really, because I've done it so many times, speaking to people on the phone. It's actually quite funny when you recognize that this person does not know me at all, but he's trying to be nice.
Yeah, no way. After 3 days of that, of meeting a bunch of new people, no way.
Okay, so we'll got a couple more questions here. Awesome, keep them coming, guys. There's Kev, good to see you, Kev. Danny, good to see you. All you guys are awesome, good to see you. But one of the questions was, let me get this right. How much do people save up for September to try getting contracts with suppliers? That's an interesting question, Sean. How much do people save up? I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're talking about. Maybe what he's referring to is, I'm assuming if you're going to get brand new contacts, so Kriss, you're going out and you're contacting different suppliers all the time, then surely you're going to need some type of money capital available to place first order. So Sean, I'm assuming Sean's not in wholesale at this point, and he's maybe just starting to look into getting into wholesale. So he may be wondering, what's the starting point, Kriss? Like, how much did you start with? You started with quite a small amount, didn't you?
Yeah, so I mean, I was already doing OA, so I had to do, I had already the funds coming in, but then I was able to segregate a small percentage of that to wholesale. So yeah, like last September, I think my first wholesale order was like, I don't know, like 500 or $1,000 or something. Like, it wasn't a lot, but granted, I had the money coming in. Now, if you're asking the question, how much money do you need to start? Well, there's two ways to look at it. Technically, a lot of these accounts, I mean, they've got $500 minimums, but the real question is, how many SKUs are you going to have to buy? Like, how much starting capital do you have? Like, if someone came to me and they said, look, I have $1,000, I don't know if I would tell them to go to start with wholesale, because one mess up and you're done. Like, and that's all your money. Like, what if you put your money $1,000 into 3 SKUs and it's gone? So like for me, unless you know the Amazon system and like you're confident that you're not going to mess up, then go ahead and go for it. Or you have some kind of mentor or something, go for it. But if it were me, I would wait until I had a few grand and preferably made it from some other type of business model on Amazon. So that's kind of my answer to that, I guess. It's just, a little bit beat around the bush. So
no, I think you hit home on a couple of really good points there. So firstly, for anybody maybe watching this back later on, you guys in the chat who are looking to get into wholesale, I think the first limiting belief that we may want to hack down is, a lot of people may think that you need thousands upon thousands of pounds to place one order. But the truth is, you can get low minimum order quantities. So in the US, that you said that it was about $500. In the UK, you can have it even smaller than that. You can place smaller orders from wholesalers. So you don't need, because I used to have this same belief. I used to think that like, if I'm going to start wholesale, I need £50,000 in the bank just to get started. But that's not the truth. But that does come with what Kriss said then as well. Like, if you've only got £500 and you place one order with a wholesaler and that's 3 SKUs and they're all wrong, or you get your analysis wrong, or whatever the case is, they don't sell, you're stuck with those items. You're like, the difference with a wholesaler compared to online arbitrage is if you place an order with an online arbitrage store, and for whatever reason, by the time it gets to you and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I've got this wrong, I ordered the wrong thing, you would just go, oh, I'll just refund it, I'll just go take it back. You know, if you get a pallet delivered at your warehouse or at your home or whatever, you can't just, you know, you're not going to call the wholesaler and go, oh, I got this wrong. Can you return these 3 pallets? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. They're going to tell you no.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. So I think that's a part there. But another part is in terms of I actually think that the best way to get started at this point is online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, and then get to a point where you've got some cash flow, you've got some money where you can put some money to one side just to build up your wholesale pot, just to keep building up your wholesale pot. Because then, like Sean, for yourself, if you're going to go to a trade show, if you're going to go to a wholesale trade show, you may want to have in your wholesale pot maybe £5,000, so you can place some orders. It gives you a little flexibility because you're going to learn a lot. The process of wholesale is very similar but different, and it can be a lot different, right, Kriss?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, it's like 2 sides, right? It's like, especially if you're starting with wholesale, it's like not only do you have to learn the intricacies of an entire business, right? Like this is way bigger than Amazon. This is this is massive. Like it's an entire industry. You not only have to learn that, but you're going to have to learn like, how does Amazon selling work? Like, how do I read a Keepograph? Like, how do I send in a shipment? It's just, I think it's a lot. So I'm right there with you. Like, you know, RA, OA, like stuff like that is, I think, the best way for people to start, and just to be able to build some confidence with yourself as well. So
yeah, and when it comes to pallets, shipping pallets as well, I know for myself, when I first shipped my first ever pallet, it's a little bit like, oh my god, do you remember that? Do you remember the first shipment that you did, Kriss? How confusing that was to create the shipment and complete the shipment. It was super confusing for you, was it?
Oh yeah, I was just like, what's going on? I was not a fan of, and we don't even do pallets that much anymore. Like we have our suppliers, like we will pay boxing fees. We're like distributed placement. Like we will pay, you know, an extra $50 to not do pallets, for them to ship it in for us or to ship to our business address. So it's like, I don't know the last time we did a pallet. We just do boxes all the time.
Oh, wow.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, what I was about to say is, when myself and Kylie first started doing boxing, our first shipment, let me get this right, going back to the late May of 2015, we were going through the process of trying to label products, and I just got my first. Yeah, I was like, where does this I put this sticker on this barcode. Why do you do that? I don't understand. And then what do I do? Put this Monsters Inc. Scully doll. That was my first product that I sold. Do I put this in this big box? Why do I put it in the big box? What's going on? And when we did the first pallet, the reason why I tell you this story is when we did the first pallet, it was a little bit like that. It was like, right, so case boxes, like what do I do with these cases? And I've got to stack them up on this pallet. And how do I do this big pallet wrap? And how does this work? And I guess what I'm trying to say is you stumble your way through building your business. That's the way it works. When you do something for the first time, and to bring it right back full circle to you, Sean, when you go through wholesale for the first time and you're looking at this big product list and all the rest of it, it's going to feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but continue persevering and things come good. I'm sure that you would agree, Kriss.
Couldn't have said it any better.
Right, so I'll check the chat again, see what... I love all the conversations here. We've got a bit of feedback for you, Kriss, here. We've got Jerry says, "Wow, loving it, Kriss."
Awesome.
That's top stuff, Kriss. You just gave some amazing inspiration there. Awesome. So we've got, I think, another question here. Let's get this right. One from Kev. What's this? What happens then if Amazon reject a receipt? Is it game over? Amazon dream done, account suspension? Okay, so I suppose we can talk a little bit about that. So you're in the US, Kriss, right? Mm-hmm. What have been some? Well, Kev's alluding to sort of the documentation side of things on Amazon, like whenever Amazon maybe requests some a documentation on a product and things and invoices and things. Have you found any significant change in the Amazon US marketplace this year? Because there's been some changes that have started to come out in the UK, and I'm assuming the US is always hit first.
I'm not really 100% sure, to be honest. I mean, there have been a few product lines we've been selling where Amazon is like, hey, we just need to make sure that you are selling it like authentic, and they just send, it's not like our account was suspended or anything. So we just give them the invoices and everything works. I mean, when it comes to, we do submit invoices or receipts for like lost products. I mean, we do that. I mean, and receipts have worked fine for that. And we've gotten our money back, But I mean, I guess I don't really know, because the only time I hear about instances are really when people come to me and they're like, Kriss, my account's suspended, or like, like there was a guy the other day that hadn't even created his account and they got suspended. And so he sent the email to the Jeff@Amazon.com, I think it was, and it worked out. So, I mean, I guess it's just more.
Sorry, what's that email? What's this email that you said?
I think it's Jeff@Amazon, or wait, yeah, I think it's or is it Jeff Bezos at Amazon? You can find it online. Like I don't want to tell you, it's either Jeff@Amazon.com or Jeff Bezos@Amazon.com. Obviously, it's not Jeff Bezos. It's just a team of people that are like high level people that are reading the emails. But don't send it there first. That's like the last case resort, from what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, don't send Jeff. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, Jeff must be getting millions and millions of emails. So Jeff's like, what's going on here? And you don't want to be sending like, Jeff, how do I create a shipment?
Oh my, you'll get put on that block list real quick. So
yeah, you're not going to have your account for very long. But
no.
One thing that happened to us in the UK this year, Kriss, was I guess one of the most significant changes was they changed like the shipment weight. Okay, so we used to be able to ship up to 30 kilograms, and now they changed it this year to 23 kilograms. Okay, so that's been a big thing that's happened. Has there been anything that's impacted your business in any way this year?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. And that's interesting to me that you guys had that 30 kilo, because in the US, ours is 50 pounds. So it's like 50 pounds. I mean, that's, 30 kilos. That's like probably like 70 pounds, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm doing the calculation quickly in my head, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where you're just always in the trenches doing stuff, and stuff changes, and I just kind of forget about it. Like, it's like, oh, I guess this is how this is going now. And nothing's really coming to mind off the top of my head. No.
Yeah.
Always evolving, I guess.
Yeah. Always evolving. The reason why I asked is a lot of the times things come out in the US before it does in the UK. So you was potentially going to help us with a bit of anticipation there.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help out, guys.
But there's another question from Simon. Simon's a regular on the Reseller Show. He's always here, and it was good to see Simon. We had a conference down in London a couple of weeks back, and had a good drink with Simon. It was fantastic. But Simon asks, are the wholesale products that you look to buy already good sellers on Amazon, or are you in the process of creating new listings and getting those listings up and running?
Yeah. So We only go for products that are selling. Like I won't even touch it if the keep is less, if the keepa hasn't been pulling data for less than 30 days. And the reason for that being is that we have done the work to find the suppliers to where we can go after that. Like we don't have to do that. Now, I'm not saying, I'm a big believer in there's so many different ways to make money on outside of Amazon, let alone on Amazon, that you just have to narrow down. Like my plate's already extremely full. And so I've not brought that onto the plate yet. Is it something I would consider in the future? Possibly. I think it might be a great segue into private label where it's like your own product. It's like, hey, let's test this out with, some big brand and try and create a new listing from scratch or a bundle from scratch. That's just not my area of expertise. But it does interest me though, for sure.
Yeah, what interests me, what's really interesting me at the minute, Kriss, and you guys in the chat, is getting exclusive brand deals. Being able to strike up a deal with a supplier that they're only going to supply you, and that's for the long-term security of your business, the long-term vision of the business. That makes sense. If you could get partnerships, if you could get exclusive brand deals where somebody is only supplying you because, and you may wonder, well, why would they just supply you? Why wouldn't they just sell it themselves? But some brands out there, they may not, it's not their business model. They don't want to get themselves involved in all the Amazon side of things and things. So they may supply to you as a wholesaler or a brand or whatever, and then you then are able to have the exclusive rights. Is that something that you've ever done, Kriss, or is that something that you are looking towards?
We have not done that, and I'm right there with you. I mean, I think it definitely makes sense. Like if you have some way to pitch these people to sell to you, because you're right. Like sometimes it does not make sense to sell to end user for some of these people. It's not in their business model. They'll lose money if they sell to the end user. Right now, no, it's not in the cards. We have replenishables we order, but it's all through distributors selling big name brands. And, sometimes we order some of the same stuff, but, but there's always something to order from the suppliers we have, even if maybe we're only reordering 30% of it. And, maybe in 2 years they'll dry up. It'll dry up. I don't know. But that's why we're always constantly, expanding our network to where we'll have lists to give to our VAs. And then there's always something to buy pretty much. But yeah, I mean, exclusive rights, I mean, it is the holy grail of wholesale. Of selling name brand products on Amazon, no questions.
100%. I mean, one of the things that I always ask myself, and this is maybe something that we could talk about a little bit as well, is you've got to try working on your business. Okay, so the quote or the saying is, you're going to want to work on your business, not in your business, because if you're working in your business, you can't see the bigger picture because you're in the trenches. Okay, so some of the things that I always try to ask myself, right? So I'm thinking to myself, how do we get to 1 million a month? Okay, we want to get to 1 million a month. That's the goal. Like, how great would it be to have our physical products business going to 1 million a month? And when you start to look at all the different business models, like online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, books, or whether that is wholesale or private label and things, one of the things I've come down to is if you was able to get exclusive brand deals, and you're just adding exclusive brand deal after exclusive brand deal to the point where you've maybe got a whole library of 100, 200, 300 products of like they're only supplying you, and you've got a regular ordering every month, and you can really start to improve the list. And it's like private label, but for other people, you're the middleman. That I think you could get to 1 million a month. I think you absolutely could.
100%. I'm right there with you on that. It'd be a lot easier for sure.
Yes. So do you ask yourself any questions like this? Like I'm always asking myself the question, like, what, instead of trying to work harder, like instead of trying to, we need more VA sourcing, we need more this, I'm always trying to think, what sideways step can I do? Can I just think a little bit differently? Can I just shift a little bit, think a little bit differently, and then maybe get a quantum leap some way? Do you ever ask yourself any of these types of questions?
Yeah, so I mean, it was like, because I mean, my first year I was working, it was like just work. I was just work hard, 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 and I mean, it's like people say, it's always like, hustle and all this stuff, and I mean, I do believe in hard work, and I'm always doing something, but ever since I really started like taking a step back and trying to think outside the box and how, being a conscious of what I'm doing so I can outsource it. And also, just outsourcing stuff in general has been absolutely crazy. So, I mean, I'm right there with you on that. When it comes to, if there's some, sideways step or some way you can work smarter, take 5 steps with one, obviously do it. Yeah. Always trying to do that for sure.
So I think we can talk a little bit about Q4 now. Then let's talk a bit about Q4. What have you been? How have you been preparing? Are you all in Q4 right now? Are you heavily, filling up Amazon at this point? What's the strategy right now?
I mean, for us, it was, and I mean, I haven't said this anywhere else, just on here. Like for us, is
this an exclusive?
This is an exclusive. We now have 5 accounts that have hazmat space. So like we were running out of hazmat space. And so we got like basically in the last month, we got 5 accounts up to par where not only are they ungated in hazmat, but they're ungated in like exclusive brands. So when the time comes, because right now we're expanding our suppliers, right? Like it's not like we're doing anything. Some suppliers are sending us Q4 deals and they're like, hey, buy toys for Q4. And it's like, I'm not spending money now for products in November. I'm just going to keep buying my 2 weeks worth of inventory or whatever it is and just keep, flipping it up, So like, but like when it comes to like getting ready for Q4, it's just making sure our infrastructure is in place to where we can expand, to where when we do have more capital, we can put it down and we're not running out of space or we're not running out of, it's just basically managing bottlenecks, like just analyzing the bottlenecks. Like, okay, is it space? Is it time? Is it money? And just trying to make sure they flow, accordingly. So we don't ever, like that's pretty much it. Kind of vague, I guess, but.
No, I think I love that, Kriss, because you're talking my language there. That's literally, that's literally what I love to talk about that because, first of all, guys, I've just checked the likes on the video and we've got only 2 likes and there's 20 people watching. Could we please give Kriss a thumbs up? How amazing is this? How awesome is it that Kriss is with us all the way from the US? How amazing is this world that we're living in? But I'm always thinking like this too, like bottlenecks, right? So we've got, like you mentioned, we've got time, we've got money, we've got space, we've got products, strategy. They're the 5 main bottlenecks, right? Time, there's no time. Everybody's limited with time. We've always want more time. A space. Some people don't have the space. I remember myself in 2015, in my living room, in my small little kitchen, boxes everywhere. There's a bottleneck. Products. Ultimately, you need products. It's the oxygen of this business model. It's a bottleneck. When we start talking about strategy, for example, some people maybe just don't know what the next step is. Like if you don't know, if you've not gone down the path, if you don't have a mentor or some guidance, you don't know what the path is. So what I'm trying to get at is this is a fantastic time of the year, being August, to think about streamlining the business. Because I don't know whether I've ever spoken to you about this, Kriss, but I try to split up the year into different quarters and different strategies for each quarter. Have you ever heard me talk about that?
I think I have, yeah, like not to me directly, but it was in one of your videos. And I mean, I think that's an awesome, that's what to kind of break down like some big successful companies. I think that's what they do. So it's like, why not just reverse engineer like what they're doing? It seems to be working. So
Yeah. So what I try to do is like Q1, January, February, March. It's the brand new year. This is the time to set big goals, plant some seeds in the business, whether that is, I'm sure that you've planted some huge seeds this year, whether that is new virtual assistants, whether it is get out into a warehouse, get out into a prep service. You're planting some huge seeds in your business, okay? Q2, then, I try to focus in on the seeds that I've planted. I'm now thinking about the training and the development of whatever it is. So, like, let's say it was a virtual assistant. I'm now going through trying to train them. I'm trying to bring them up to competency that I need them to be. And then Q3, where we're in now, is all about streamlining then. And that's why I'm mentioning this, because you mentioned the bottlenecks, you mentioned the streamlining. Where can you make those fine adjustments that compound over days and weeks for you to finally get to Q4, which is ultimately maximize profit and minimize time? So you want to be working on your business, not in your business, because Q4 is crazy as it is. Like, we're always busy and things. But if you could have teams in place, if you've got leverage, then you're getting more done. Like, you've got leverage, Kriss. Like, what you're doing at this moment in time, and your capacity in your business with all your virtual assistants, the emails that you're sending, the shipments that you're doing, you've got massive leverage. Because if you didn't, there's no way you could operate at the level that you're at if it was just you, right?
No, it's absolutely crazy. And like, I mean, it's the craziest part about this entire thing is that we're doing, 120K gross a month, and I'm working a fraction less than when I was doing 20K gross my online arbitrage business. Like, I'm not making that up. Like, let that sink in. And it's not because it's just one business model over the other. It's because it goes back to what Kev said. Like, I just started working smart. I started working, I feel like I already always was, but it's a learning curve, especially when you don't have a mentor and you're just figuring this stuff out on your own. It's, a lot of, there's nights where you are trying to figure out how to work smart. You're not working hard, or you're not working smart. You're trying to figure out how to do it. So it's like, which goes back to the strategy thing you talked about, the strategy bottleneck. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, now's the time. Get a VA in place, because it's going to get crazy. Like Q4, you get lists. Like, what if you get 10 lists in a day? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend your entire day just going over lists, or like, maybe you can. I mean, good. And, maybe that's where you have to start. But always think past that.
Yeah. And, from my own personal experience, like I say, I remember my first ever Q4 working as an electrical engineer all day, getting home, doing all with Kylo, doing all the boxing, I was doing all the reviewing, I was doing all the purchasing, I was doing all these things. And me and Kylo were up until 2 o'clock in the morning, just trying to get things done. But, if you guys have got any final sort of questions or anything for Kriss, don't hesitate to shoot them in. I guess just quick shout out here to Sibtane. I apologize if I've got your name, if I butchered your name. I'm terrible with names. But he says, "Oh, hi Kev, so glad that you're back on. Monday nights have been boring. The Reseller Show on Monday nights. Yeah, I love that. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Do you have any sort of thoughts, any sort of the best advice that you could share with anybody going into, this is now your third Q4, Kriss, is that right?
Yeah, this is my third Q4. Yeah. I mean, my biggest advice is, and some of this may seem common sense, but like, I swear, like, take it, like, it's never too late to start. Like, start now. If, think about it, right? Like, when I first started in Amazon, and supposedly it was the glory days, right? Well, I'm completely destroying my sales now. And supposedly now it's the hardest it's ever been. So like, first off, there's that. Second off is that, it will, like, you're going to mess up. I don't care what mentor you have or whatever. Like, there's going to be bumps in the road, and it's so worth it when you get past it. Like, just keep chugging along and surround yourself with those positive people that encourage you to keep going. And, because it will feed into your work ethic. If you don't think this is going to work, you're right. And if you do think it's going to work, you're right. So it's like, just do a better job of, really surrounding yourself with a close, good group of people. I mean, other than that, yeah, that's pretty much nothing too crazy on that. But yeah.
No, I mean, again, I think you put yourself down too much, Kriss. I think that's fantastic advice. I think it's one of the it's one of the what you've just said there. One, you're never going to feel like it's the perfect time to start if you're just getting started. Like, people, when I started in 2015, people were saying then, too late to start. The boat's gone. It missed it. 2016, heard the same thing. Too late to start. And there's people that started in 2016 that have quit jobs and moved on and built businesses and everything already. Okay, the 2017, the same thing happens over and over again. People saying, is Amazon saturated? Is Amazon saturated? Just get started and build from there. That's all you have to do. So that's the first thing. Great point. The next thing was you mentioned. What did you
like surrounding yourself like the positive people, like, yeah,
that is, I cannot tell you how massive that is. That can influence the reality of somebody making it and somebody not making it. If you think about it, right, if you think of a successful person, if at some point in their journey they were influenced by negativity around them, then they may have not taken an action that's progressed them onto the next action, that's then progressed them onto the next action, etc. So my best advice, when I think about it, you've just come up with it on the spot, but now I'm thinking about it, my best advice throughout this Q4 is remove yourself from as much negativity as possible, like unsubscribe from everybody that's negative. That's including in your real life as well. Just unsubscribe from them too, and subscribe to as many people, positive as people as possible. So this is probably a good opportunity to share people where they can find you, Kriss, because follow Kriss this Q4. He's going to share lots of great stuff, I'm sure, and it's going to be all positive. It's going to be all strategy related. It's all going to be like focused on goals. So whereabouts can people find you, Kriss?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Kris McCauley, just, Kriss McCauley, Kris McCauley. And I've got a YouTube channel, and then I'm also on Instagram, Kris McCauley. Give me a follow, reach out, have any questions. I like interacting with people, and I really do enjoy helping people out. So
yeah, for me, Kriss, it's myself and Kriss haven't spoken in a few months, but it's like we're just, that's the great thing about this community, this mastermind. We're all friends, and once we get talking in a conversation like this, we've just got so many things in common, and we're all on the same track, and we're all on the same journey. So I really do appreciate your time this evening, Kriss. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show.
Yeah, Kev, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for bringing me on. I had a blast.
Yeah. And you guys that are watching in the chat, please do give, once again, a thumbs up for Kriss, for the Reseller Show. Really, really do appreciate it. For you guys on the podcast listening, really, really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching us, listening to us, wherever you are. Andy is in the US right now. Andy Lawrence is in the US right now, loving life. So he should be back. We should be back again next week with Andy. Really, really looking forward to continuing. But I just wanted to just quickly say goodbye to everyone. We're getting towards the sort of 53, 55-minute mark already, Kriss. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow. Time flies when you're talking about Amazon.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, yeah, good to see you guys this evening. I'm glad that you're all glad that the Reseller Show is back. We've got Jerry, Simon, Sean, Sibtane. We had Mark in. We've got Kevin. We've got Danny in. It's amazing. It's getting to when we first started this, we were only there was only maybe 1 or 2 watches and 3 or 4 watches, so it was easy just to say goodbye and hello to everyone. And now it's taking like 5 minutes just to say hello to everyone and 5 minutes to say goodbye to everyone.
Wow. That's awesome.
The way it goes.
Love the growth. Love the growth.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks very much, Kriss. I really, really do appreciate it. For you guys that want more of Kriss, make sure that you check out his YouTube channel, his Instagram and things. But also, we're going to be doing a Tribe of Arbitragers, which is going to come out on my YouTube channel a little bit later on in the week, I'm sure. So thank you guys very, very much for watching the Reseller Show, episode 40. I hope you have a fantastic week. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're just taking massive action. And yeah, we'll speak to you guys soon.
Thanks, Kev.
Cheers, Kriss.